welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about TV, movies, comics, and all things geek. Today's topic was supplied by a listener on Twitter. Laura LJ85 tweeted, I have a Father's Day theme idea, toxic fathers and how they affect character development in movies and television. Thanks for the suggestion and thanks for listening, Laura. Sounds like a fun idea. And with Father's Day right around the corner, timing's perfect. I'm Zach Slater.
I'm Frank Melman.
This is Tommy Smithereens.
And I'm Clifton.
So I really like this idea, but we're going to make a slight adjustment to focus on not just the toxic bad dads, but also we'll focus on some pretty good ones as well and how they affect the protagonists in media. So we'll spend the second half focusing on the good dads, but we're going to start off with the bad ones. So, Tommy, you want to start us off?
Yeah, first of all, what comes to mind is pop culture and what we know to be bad dads, despite what their offspring has created.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking in the category of Britney Spears, Jessica Simpsons, and Joe Jackson.
Wow.
Okay.
All of those are generally bad dads in how they just messed up their childhood, but through their talent, they're able to push past the BS.
Okay. This is a curveball for me. I was not expecting real people.
Right,
Oh, no,
we're all
no.
thinking fictional dads.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Then as far as fictional girls, which is a deterrent, I apologize. If you want to fictional, I'm thinking Cotton Hill from King of the Hill.
Sure.
Okay.
I love the show, but Cotton, his absurdity on how he raised Hank Hill was nuts.
Okay. What's his deal?
Well, his deal, he just wanted him to man up when Hank was never a man at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He always pushed him to do things that he could do at the time after being a vet, that he expected his son to match the same caliber of what he's going through despite his age and his anxieties.
Okay.
Terrible father.
Yes.
Terrible father. Even into
Yes.
adulthood.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you get a lot of times. I mean, it's one of those things where in the 22 minutes episodes, you get a lot of times where Hank, you see how much Hank overcame from Cotton.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as a repressed character Hank can be, and it's hard for him to show affection for Bobby, he's light years ahead and better than Cotton ever was to him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This character is vaguely familiar. I didn't watch a whole lot of King of the Hill after second season or so, but I remember. Did he fight in Korea?
I thought he
Was it
the
Korea or was it
War?
Vietnam? I don't remember.
No, I thought he was in the big one. I thought he was in WW2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought he was WW2 vet, because there is the episode, I think we mentioned it before, or maybe we just talked about it, about the show in general, where there's one where the Vietnam vets they're having basically competing for the same space, basically to meet, and Cotton doesn't respect the Vietnam vets because they didn't man up again. So it comes back to the idea they didn't man up and they don't handle what happened, their PTSD as well as the World War II vets.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yeah, Cotton literally makes fun of World War II vets.
no, the Vietnam vets.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry.
Right.
Vietnam vets, yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's so messed up. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Hank is like, I don't want to say fully realized, but he's grown up.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man. He is who he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is there like any interaction between him and Bobby? Like, does he shape Bobby in any way? Like the younger,
he's a great grandfather.
Okay, that's an interesting twist.
Well, there is an early episode though. I thought that he basically was trying to be with Bobby and tries to be the way he was with Hank, and Hank basically tells him no. I can't remember. I can't remember if it's something to do with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember, but yeah, I mean, it's Cotton's one of those dads you just full well, even like in any of the flashback stuff or just the way he is with him, like the whole thing about when he has the second family with Dee Dee.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when he names the second son.
Yes,
Good Hank.
Yes, good Hank.
Yeah. To give his son even more anxiety, to let him know that he was bad Hank, so to speak.
Yes.
But the one that comes to mind is when the flashback of where he takes Hank, like after they win a bowl game or their championship, he takes him to a house of respite, the repute thing, and then he tries to do that to Bobby.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, like a coming of age thing. For some reason, he wants him to pick one.
Okay,
yeah. That's right. Now I remember. Now it's all coming back.
this is what type of person Cotton Hill is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Bobby's like 12, right?
Yeah. Bobby didn't know what the women are doing. That's
Right.
how young he is.
He doesn't even know what they're there for. He just, pick a good one, Bobby.
Yeah. And then he further objectifies the women by slapping them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as they walk past him.
Yeah, on the butt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sounds like a jerk off.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Tough to beat him, but we'll try.
Sure.
For the toxic ones. Who else you guys got?
I got one of the worst ones, I think, in comics.
Okay.
Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking him as well.
Yeah, he's a
It's
wiener.
really tough to beat Norman Osborn who's getting high off Goblin formula, flying around in gliders and being a total jerk to his son, and, and fighting Spider-Man.
Gives his son a bad haircut.
Yeah, there's that too.
Right.
That whole thing.
Passes on his awful haircut.
Yeah, just terrible. But no, I think when I think of quintessential bad dads, I always think of Norman. And Norman, just like in every portrayal, pretty much across the board. Like Willem Dafoe is terrible, and
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they've captured that toxic relationship well in its many adaptations. They do get that right just about every time.
Yeah,
they do.
Praising his son's best friend while tearing his own son down.
Yeah. Why can't you be more like Parker? You know,
I love that bit
whole-
in the first Sam Raimi movie. That's awesome. Peter, the Science Award. That's terrific.
Yeah,
and you could just hear Harry just brooding in the background.
Yeah.
But I had a question.
Sure.
Was he worse after the serum, or was he always like that?
I think he was always like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's his like default setting.
Okay.
Is that he's just terrible.
He just wasn't murderous. But that we
Yeah,
know
I mean-
of.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we know, of, right? I mean, we don't know. I mean, there's like if you read like Untold Tales, that one's not. It's a little more the idea that Norman's behind a lot more stuff before he actually
Takes the serum. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, before he gets the serum.
That's the Kurt Busiek comic from the 90s.
Yeah, Pat Olive does the art. Kurt Busiek writes it. Yeah, it was great run of books. But yeah, that's the one that gives you the idea that no, Norman was moving stuff long before he actually comes on the scene as the Goblin.
Mm.
But no, I just think of like the whole thing with Gwen Stacy and the bridge and all that stuff, and then I mean, there's just so many good Norman moments, and like I think throughout pop culture, like Spectacular, for example, Spectacular Spider-Man the animated series.
Yeah.
That Norman is, whew,
Mm-hmm.
that Norman's awful.
Yeah.
And again, I remember, we've talked about it before. Is it in the
It builds nicely. It builds
Yeah,
nicely too. Like it's What's interesting there is too is that you see also. I mean, it's quick. It's like in quick tiny moments, but you see how non-existent the role of his mom is.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, she's there, but she's not there.
Right.
Which I also see as a reflection on Norman.
Right.
Mhm.
Also, yeah.
And you can always understand how Harry ends up messed up as he is in every iteration too. Like you always understand it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's earned for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that Norman is the way he is. But yeah, I think, like I said, when I think about Bad Dad and stuff, I'm always like, yeah, Norman Osborn, that's the one.
Mm.
I was gonna say, without spoiling it, there's some great stuff. Like I said, it's Spectacular with Norman, and then like I said, the Willem Dafoe stuff in the movies is really good. What's another one? Because I know he's in. I don't think they get into it in like Spider-Man is Amazing Friends or anything, and they don't get him really into him in the 93 one either, do they?
No, they do. Yeah, in the 90s one. Yeah,
Do
I mean, it's late. It's later. I mean, it's like season 3-ish where he starts, becoming, bonkers and stuff like that, But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a great bad dad.
Yeah. And he was a good bad guy, one of the best bad guys ever.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Clifton, you got anybody?
Yeah, I was thinking it's similar along the lines to Green Goblin and a villainous dad from comics originally, but not exclusively at this point, and that is Deathstroke.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slade Wilson, who's has several kids in the comics that we know of, and in the adaptations, iterations, the Titans show, the Teen Titans stuff that we've seen before. And it never goes well for his kids.
Yeah.
It does not turn out too well for them.
Nope.
Most notably Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he also his daughter Rose Wilson, who I mentioned in a recent episode, and she obsessively seeks his approval, his like toxic, horrible approval, to the point where she ends up disfigured like he is, just trying to do what he wants.
Right.
Right.
And it does not turn out well for Jericho, who does, to a point, escape the negativity of Deathstroke, but is ultimately a casualty of it as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got a chance. Jericho's got a real chance for a little while. But doesn't turn out so good for him. Who's the third child? So he has another son, right?
Yeah, the firstborn.
What's that character's name again? I'm blanking on the name.
Ravager is the first son.
Isn't he Ravager as well?
Yeah, he's Ravager 1.
Is he Ravager also? Okay.
Yeah.
The irony of that is he wants to be his dad, and in becoming his dad gets him killed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
So the heir apparent, the guy that actually like idolized him, dies as a result of it at a very young age.
Yeah, his son Grant. Grant was his first.
Grant.
Okay.
Yes.
And is he disfigured at any point by a decision that Slade has made? Slade being Deathstroke?
Jericho, that happens to, right?
Jericho does, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But no, if I remember correctly, Grant is trying to like takes their whatever the version of the super soldier serum or whatever, and that's where it goes bad for him.
Because I was trying to remember because Jericho ends up becoming he's nonverbal,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of his throat's like cut or something like that. Because of something his dad was involved in. Yeah,
it's one of those. I'm not going to negotiate with terrorists, and terrorists are like, okay, cool, and they slash Jericho's throat. So
yeah. Slade is not fast enough to stop his son's throat from getting slit.
Right.
Yeah,
that's a Judas contract, right? Revealed.
I believe that's so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good story.
Yeah, but no, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Deathstroke is always
a very good choice. He sucks.
Deathstroke is yeah.
He's an awesome character. He's a great bad guy and like one of my favorites, and gets maybe a little overexposed now, I think. But there was a point a long time ago where we were all talking. We're like, why aren't they doing more with Deathstroke? This guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they quote unquote discovered him, and then he was in.
Now he's in everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you always have sympathy for his kids, even Rose when she straddles the line between villain and anti-hero, and like you still have sympathy for her even when she's doing bad stuff.
Yeah,
just because you know how messed up that childhood is.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no, good pick, very good pick. I'm sticking with comics, but I think everybody's gonna know him more from the MCU now, and I'm saying Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Thanos sucks as a dad.
Yeah.
I'm going just with the MCU here. Like, spoiler, if you haven't seen it, you should see all of it. It's great. But, kills Gamora.
Yeah.
Kills his own daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
His favorite.
The one he actually liked.
Yeah, that's the one he liked. And I'm like, maybe worse is the treatment of Nebula, his other daughter, who, like, he pits them against each other, first of all. Constantly compares one to the other. When Nebula loses in combat to Gamora, constantly is training, like she's tortured, as a punishment. Yeah, and then on top of it, he's like his kids exist to fulfill his own vision. That's it. Like that's all. They're goons.
Yeah,
right.
They're enforcers. They're his workers. They're not. Like.
But isn't the thing about Nebula also the idea that every time she loses, she has to get like an upgrade?
Right. Like he's trying to improve her, quote unquote, improve her every time.
Yeah. As well.
By removing a piece of her every time.
Yep. Replacing her with something artificial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good movies, but man, what a jerk.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah. He just goes around collecting kids to mess up. That's all he does.
Yeah. He's like the Batman of. Oh no! Wait, I'm sorry. That's not great. No. Sorry.
Was that your next one? Was that your next trick?
No. Should we get into it?
It can be.
Yeah, but that was my immediate thought when you said, gathers kids to mess them up.
Tommy likes it. He's excited. He's excited.
I smell blood in the water, man.
Yep. finish him.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Fine. Let's do it. Break my heart, you guys. Do it.
Is he a bad dad?
Immensely.
Okay.
Good intentions,
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
but terrible end results.
Mm-hmm.
For some worse than others.
For some,
Oh, yeah.
some
Sure.
turn out fine.
Right.
But that's what makes it so tragic. They turn out better without him.
Mm-hmm.
Great trainer.
Right. But isn't part of the deal that what did he have, really?
Right.
You mean up until age 8? Everything.
Yes. Up until age 8. He had a pretty good life up
Mhm.
until about age 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yes,
then
he did.
and then it all goes to hell.
Well, he does have a good father figure in Alfred.
Right.
Sure.
Several people, actually.
Who's around for some of it, at
Yes.
least we think, if
Right.
not all of it.
Right.
Leslie Tompkins presumably around for a period of that as well.
Mhm.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think I look at, so one of the things I like about the Grant Morrison Batman stuff when Damian is created is the idea that Bruce, like Dick is so good with Damian because he doesn't treat him like Bruce does, right? Like
Right.
Bruce is, his gut reaction is to change him and yell at him and and all of that stuff. And Dick, I think, is a bit kinder of an approach.
Right. Because after years and years and years of Batman, taking in orphans and
Mhm.
strays, then he's given, like, we're presented with a character that's his own actual biological son.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he doesn't know how to deal with that after dealing with all of these surrogates, all of these wards.
Yes.
Right.
Like, it's just a different thing, and he doesn't know what to do.
The thing, though, that I think puts a kind of a wrench in it, and I'll see what you guys think, though, is Dick does not come out bad.
Right.
Well,
I mean, granted, they are estranged for a period. They are estranged for a period of time in the comics, but Dick is really Bruce's like greatest success, right?
Mhm.
Sure.
He's raised somebody with all the skill and all the strength and all the the good aspects of him, and then put like none of the angst and none of the baggage that Bruce has. But then
Right,
you look
right.
at Jason, and Jason is his greatest failure.
but is it due to what Bruce showed him, or that he's just a better person? Because Dick
you
is
tell
just
me.
internally more compassionate, man, than Bruce.
So you think it's nature
Because yes, because
and not nurture.
even Dick makes excuses for Bruce,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
in which he has to tell people, oh, he's not all that like that. He has a better side. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He softens it up, and even Dick doesn't have the trouble that Bruce has with Damian.
Mm-hmm.
I think Dick is just a better person than Bruce.
I think for me, I look at two aspects of it, and there's 100 different versions in the comics where in some versions he finds Joe Chill and Joe Chill answers for killing the Waynes. And in other versions he has no idea, like he doesn't know who did it, and he can't find who did it, right? And I think that is a crucial piece of it. Is one, Bruce did not have a Batman to teach him the way, right? Dick does. Dick has a Batman who's been there, done that before Dick could. And in the process helps Dick track down the person who killed his parents and brings them to justice. And so I think that opens the door for Dick to not have so much on his shoulders, to not be haunted by it. Whereas Bruce, if you subscribe to the idea that he never finds Joe Chill, right? And Joe Chill is essentially represents crime itself, right? I think Bruce will never get over it.
Okay. But okay. With that being said, and then I'll take away from the argument totally.
Mhm.
Bruce should have healed from the situation instead of imparting his knowledge and his pain on other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, to me, what makes Dick a better person. If Bruce heals as a result of the whole ordeal with Joe Chill,
Mm-hmm.
he would be a better father to his kids. It shouldn't matter if they're biological or not. He's still responsible for.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, they're always angry at him and leave him. And their communication with him is gone. That's to me what makes him a bad dad.
Okay. Yeah, he's not a problem solver. He doesn't handle situations well. He's not loving, I think, right? But sorry, I'll let you go in a second, Frank. But my thing also is that like we didn't even bring Tim into this yet. We're just talking really like Dick and Jason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My rebuttal to that though is like, but I think the readers don't let Bruce get over it. We don't like the versions of Bruce where he gets over it. We saw that in a very popular movie called Batman and Robin. People don't love a happy Bruce. You know what I mean? Like we don't like a Bruce that like I got over it. My parents died when I was 8, but I'm over it. I'm good. I'm good now. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead, Frank. I wanted to throw that out there.
No, I think what you were saying about having someone, basically show you the ropes helps. But I also think the idea that, when Dick loses his parents, when they're killed, it happens a little bit later in his life.
Mm.
And yeah, there is, Bruce there to show him that there is a way out of this. And the fact that, that his parents' justice comes really quick.
Right. Yeah.
Had they drawn it out for a year or 2 or maybe 3 or whatever, and it had not been someone they caught immediately, it's hard not to have faith in a system when you get results immediately, right?
Right.
And that Bruce keeps him from going a step too far.
Yeah.
True. There's that
different tellings where Robin is the one that's out there seeking revenge and is about to get revenge until Bruce is like, this isn't the way. This will only haunt you further.
Right.
Than this tragedy already has.
I think a big mistake for Gotham, which is a show that, I've been very critical about, and I've mentioned it on the show. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think a mistake that they make is we see the Wayne murders as literally like the first scene of the pilot episode.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think in that moment we see 8-year-old, 10-year-old Bruce, however old he is, as Batman already. Like the actor that is playing Bruce is like has all the traits of Batman already. He's already grim. He's already dark. He's already broody and moody, and is like already kind of like on a path of like, I know sort of what I want to do, but I'm just gonna we're gonna fine tune it along the way. And I think the first season should have revolved around the Waynes as characters. I think we should have seen Thomas and Martha alive. We should have seen Bruce as the happiest child ever, right? And then close out the first season with the murders of the Waynes, so we can also get kind of buildup of like the stuff that they were working on can sort of be like hurdles and things to hit that they have to deal with after the fact. But I just think like getting to know the Waynes themselves, I think would have been more interesting to see a different dynamic of Bruce that way.
Sure.
But okay. This is what I was afraid of, though, talking about Batman, that we would eat up so much time on the character. So let's move on to some other toxic, awful dads, if you guys have them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll start switching gears to the good ones, guys that make us feel good.
Well, I got one that's not real.
Okay.
A fictional one this time.
Nolan Grayson.
Okay.
Everybody familiar with Nolan Grayson?
I am not, no.
Clifton?
I am.
Okay. Nolan Grayson, otherwise known as Omni-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're talking Invincible.
Invincible. Yeah. Okay. I know what you mean.
Say what you will about raising a kid, especially superpower, but you stop being a good dad once you pummel him to death or damn near close to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care what you did before. You're not
Right.
backtracking that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just awful.
Yeah, I remember. I haven't watched the show, but I remember reading the books, and there is kind of like
Yes.
a wolf in sheep's clothing component to him, where like he's very unassuming and very nice guy, and like, oh, he seems like the perfect dad, and then it's like, whoa, he sucks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's
Like
a whole
on
other
hard
side.
turn.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the tell though is that he looks like J. Jonah Jameson, so like
Yes.
he's got to be a heel in the end there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good dad, in my opinion. But yeah. Yeah. But no, yeah, you're right. As the look alone with the mustache, that's a terrible mustache on anybody. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming back, though. They're coming back a little bit.
That's a hard thing to say. but
You gotta hide it is the thing. You gotta do like Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible Fallout. Like you gotta do the beard stash.
Okay. Yes.
That's how you gotta do it.
That's the only way you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my pick as terrible person, terrible individual.
Yes.
Omni-Man, Nolan Grace.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an awful dad for a lot of reasons.
God.
Clifton, you got another one?
I do.
Okay.
And it's another one that bridges TV and comics.
Mhm.
This is more so on TV, but also true of comics, and it's Hiram Lodge from Riverdale and Archie Comics.
Yeah.
Who in Riverdale, like he is just evil.
Yes.
Right.
Like he is just terrible.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like he tries to sabotage his daughter and her friends at every turn, to the point of like sending her boyfriend to prison and trying to get him killed in prison, and
Right.
running like a rival drug company to her daughter, and like it's all sorts of stuff. But then even in the comics, like he wasn't good.
Right.
Like he was raising her to be bad in the comics.
Yeah.
Like he was always raising her to be judgmental and to dismiss the common folk, and nobody was good enough for them. And so yeah, he was just bad all around in every version.
Yeah, I do feel like he's got like a power upgrade in evil though in
Right.
Riverdale. Like he's
I have a question, Clifton. Do they explain why he challenges Archie to a bare knuckle, bare shirted boxing match?
In the context of the show, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, no, you go
Okay.
along with it in the show. Like you'll accept anything if you're watching that show.
Yeah, jeez.
well, it's
I
so
was
you
like,
could get Archie with his shirt off.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of it. That's a lot of the reason why I'm saying. But
After Archie got attacked by a bear and has like a huge
Yes.
bear scar.
Yeah, across his-
Yeah, there's that
Yes.
too.
That show is crazy.
Yes. Well, I just can't imagine a grown man challenging a high school kid to a bare knuckle boxing
you see it in
match.
Breakfast Club though,
Yeah.
right? You see it in Breakfast Club when
Oh yeah. I give you one shot right here, right on my chin. Yeah.
which is crazy now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that
Yeah.
now? Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
But yes, Hiram's in Riverdale, he's a straight up supervillain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they even, like, when they did the Katie Keene show, which was very short lived, like they were setting him up to be the villain in that show too. So he was
Jeez.
like a crossover villain amongst their Archieverse.
If it works.
He was like their Thanos.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he's a good pick too. All right, Frank, you got one last one?
I do.
Okay.
And this isn't so much a evil or bad one as so much as a pathetic one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Jerry Smith
Mhm.
from Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things where if pathetic was a superpower, Jerry would be like the most amazingly powered
Right.
being in their universe.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much of it. Like it's like his kids don't respect him. Rick doesn't respect him.
Yeah.
Beth, his wife, doesn't respect him. You know, Parnell's great. Chris Parnell as Jerry is awesome, but the character himself is like it's you want to root for him sometimes, but then you're like, God, Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I still haven't seen a bunch other than, the ones that we did back in our Watch Challenge episode, but I like the character a lot. From what I've seen. And yeah, and it's in my head, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like I can't say he's a bad dad, but
Right.
it is like there's a Costanza
Yeah.
aspect to him. There's a
Mhm.
but the weirdly, like thinking about it now, the difference between the two is Costanza, as pathetic as he is,
Right.
and as much of a loser as he is, he still wildly has a huge sense of ego.
Mhm.
Right? Like wild knowing like he's the most pathetic like loser walking. And like
Yes.
Jerry doesn't have any of that.
No.
Like and I'm just thinking about the episode where like all the imposters are walking around and Jerry's convinced he's one of them. Like
Yes.
he's convinced he's not real.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's his take on it. Yep.
Yeah, I've only ever seen like a little bit of the show as well. But yeah, he definitely seems to be obsessed with what's going on with him. Like he's
Mhm.
very much in his own stuff and to
Yeah.
the neglect of the others.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my one. I was like, I'm starting to think of one that was not, like, again, not quite as, he's toxic, but not
Right.
toxic in like in a way like he's not Omni-Man or Hiram
Right.
Lodge
Right.
or Norman,
Right.
but still in his own way, it's like, ugh, that guy.
Okay. All right, so we're about halfway through, so we're going to shift. We're going to start shifting to the good dads.
That was the bad dads part. Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Shockingly, no Darth Vader.
It was on my list.
Yeah, he's on everybody's list.
He's a runner-up.
Sure, right?
Cyclops was also on my list.
Oh, he's a good dad.
He actually had 2 kids and lost both of them, sort of, in weird ways.
Right. I thought he was a good dad.
Oh boy,
he's a better surrogate father than actual father because his 2 semi-real kids are like he lost for good.
Mm-hmm.
And one was the baby he had with the fake Jean Grey.
Madeline
Pryor, right?
And then the other is his daughter from an alternate reality, Rachel Summers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who, now she's in our reality with a dad who wasn't hers, and he totally neglects her too because she's not really his kid and causes her distress because of that.
Right. Oh, X-Men.
But he's better as a surrogate father.
And his dad is a space pirate.
Right.
Yes, he is.
Yes. Yeah, he had a terrible dad.
Go ahead, Tommy, though. I'm like...
Okay, but in Ascani's son, he's able to raise Cable.
Yeah.
His with the fake woman. That's why I didn't put him in that category.
Right.
I rather put Xavier as he's good with surrogate kids.
Right.
But Legion?
Oh yeah, I forgot he because I was only thinking of Xavier when I was doing this as like a mentor surrogate father, but no, he's got a real kid he messes up too.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, talk about collecting strays and orphans.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And building child armies.
Yep.
Sure. Well, again, like I've said, as everyone who bags on Cyclops, I'm like, the kid was a 15-year-old field general in a war between 2 mutants. What do you want him to be? What do you expect him to be other than messed up?
Yes. And then his one father throws him out of a plane with his brother with one parachute.
And then,
There's that too. Yes.
Sort it out, kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's Magneto there too, which he's not such a great one either.
Yeah.
There's so many in comics.
So many in X-Men.
Yes. Magneto's a terrible
Terrible dad.
I have a couple on my list that are kind of tweeners, and I'm a little curious what you guys think about all these, because so I'm going to throw Jack Murdock out there, Daredevil's dad.
Oh,
okay.
Right?
That was on my list.
I just kind of want to know quickly, like, what do you guys think? Because I think he can fit into both categories pretty easily.
As a good dad or a bad dad?
As a good dad and a bad dad, I think.
Bad dad, great legacy.
Right? I mean, there's very much like a Rocky IV component. Like, I want you to be better than me. Like I'm working with my fists to get by, and I want you to study, and I want you to be something better. And that's admirable. But at the same time, he's coming home and his son is stitching him up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? In a weird way, Matt is better than him, but at the same token, like, he's also like very much his dad.
Yeah.
He's, Matt solves a lot of problems with his fists too.
Sure.
Yeah. No, but to me, what makes him a bad dad is not that he wanted better for his son. He didn't want enough for himself.
Mm-hmm.
When he became a single parent, he should have stopped boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately it kills him. So now he has nobody because that's what makes him a terrible dad.
That's all he knows, though. He doesn't have a skill.
He can learn something,
Yeah.
as opposed to getting pummeled to death.
Okay, so not much of a tweener.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. It sounds like you guys have him in like, nah, he's not so great.
All right, but who else you got?
I have Henry Jones Jr. Henry Jones Sr. Sorry, Indiana Jones' dad. Again, like, they're estranged for years and years and years. Right? Yeah. How do you read that one? How do you navigate that one? I'm curious.
I say good dad.
You say good dad. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just had a weird son.
Okay.
Who liked old stuff.
Who named himself after a dog.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. But he still finished college.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very similar also.
Became a professor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I say good dad.
He gave his son a love for learning.
Yes.
I'm going to quote the movie a little bit. Okay. I respected your privacy and taught you self-reliance.
Yes. I
You
say,
left
he's not a bad
just
dad.
when you were getting interesting.
I mean, if you just go off the movies, I would say he's an all right dad.
Okay.
Because it looks like, I mean, you know, if you go to the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, like Teddy Roosevelt and Gandhi and like the rest of the world raised Indy.
Right.
Pancho Villa.
Yeah.
Pancho Villa. Thank you, Clifton.
Yeah.
I knew there was one I was like, that's a glaring one I forgot.
Sigmund Freud. Yeah.
The Algonquin Round Table.
Right.
Of course. Yes. He got to draw from all these other father figures because his own father wasn't there. So I would say bad father then. But if you're going for the movies, I think it was just a matter of, you know, once Indy's mom died, they just didn't know how to connect.
Yes. Again, communication.
Yeah, they couldn't communicate. He didn't know how to deal with the kid, and the kid, you know, Indy couldn't express things to his dad, so, you know, it just got worse and worse. But yeah, I think he was a fine dad when the mom was alive.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and that's very much the point of that movie is them coming together and
right.
Okay. All right, let's get an actual good one.
All right.
Okay.
Now we're moving on to the good ones for real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I start it off?
Sure.
Marlin the clownfish from Finding Nemo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. He went to the ends of what he knew to be the ocean to find and save his only son.
Right.
Can't get better than that, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is the bar.
Yeah, I mean, willing to put it all right, like willing to tear the world apart,
Mhm.
just to get him back in the fight. Yeah, can't argue with that.
No, not at all.
Mm-mm.
It's a good one.
Partner up with a mentally disturbed fish while doing it. Just saying.
Yes.
Also has like maybe the best dad voice of all time.
Yes.
Well,
Right?
Albert
Like,
Brooks.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, Albert Brooks
Try to-
was. Yeah,
try to beat Albert
I'd
Brooks.
forgotten who it was.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Albert Brooks.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that one.
Mhm.
I mean, part of it. I mean, I the only thing I would say is part of the reason why he does is because of his own anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what fuels him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm not saying he doesn't love Nemo. He doesn't love his kid, but you know, the point of that movie is the whole thing of like you gotta let go. You got to be
Right.
okay with the fact that you know your kid's gonna do stuff. But
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he suffered great loss.
Yeah.
And then was
Yeah.
holding on too tight because of not
The
dealing
loss.
with that loss.
Yes.
Right.
but yeah, that's a good one.
But that trickles down to Nemo, who's now, you know, figuratively in a cage,
Right.
and he's wanting to see what else is out there, right?
Yes.
And to have, you know, the cuffs taken off, figuratively speaking, you know.
Right.
In his defense, he was traumatized.
Right.
Yes.
Sure.
Right.
And overcomes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
With tremendous, yes.
Yep.
With tremendous love, he overcomes
Okay.
So we have a fish.
We have a fish.
it. Woohoo!
Yeah. This is Disney's probably got a bunch they can fit in this category. I
Oh,
would say.
indeed.
But I'm curious to see what else you guys got. So.
Yeah, I've got one that, like you said before, when I was thinking of this, there were some that kind of bridge mentor and father figure, and then some are very much both. And one of those is Splinter for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a mentor, but did raise those turtles from eggs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
almost,
Yeah.
basically. So he's definitely their father. It's an adoptive family, and
Mhm.
and they are a family, and he is the father, and does a great job raising those turtles in a sewer in New York,
Mm-hmm.
in a world that's not theirs.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Weirdly, I don't know what to say about it. This thing that I've liked all my life. But yeah,
Right,
I mean,
it's one of your obsessions.
Splinter was on my list too, and I'm just like, yeah, like
I have a
I don't
question.
know.
then.
Somebody else jump in. Yeah. I got
No, I
nothing.
have So here's what I was thinking. Is there a Splinter version, a version of Splinter that you prefer to the others? Or are they all equally good?
I mean, the traditional version is that he was. What is the traditional version? He was a human turned into a rat through.
No, that's what the first cartoon did. He was originally actually a rat.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
like that better. I like that they all start out as animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than a version where he's a human.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's the cartoon. The original version, like what Zach was saying,
Right.
is that Splinter always saw Hamato
Training.
training, and
Mhm.
that's how he learned ninja skills. And he somehow,
Like in the 90s movie.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, the
yes.
90s movie does this and the original books do this, and it goes back and forth.
Okay.
a little bit.
Because 2012 he was human.
2012 he was human, right? Yeah, like the 80s cartoon.
Okay.
But I think the 2003 was also he was a rat.
Okay.
Yes.
So he just like literally goes back and forth.
But the current one he was a human also. So like I said, like it goes back and forth. But I agree with you too. I prefer the rat as well. Just him being an actual animal first.
Right.
Yeah.
That he's in the same situation as the turtles.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen people talk about it. The showrunner of the 2012 Turtles talked about it and discussed that he viewed them as basically like an analogy for an immigrant family. Kind of, and I can see that where they're getting by in a world that's not exactly their own, but kind of their own, and they're trying to coexist in, and I think it's an interesting take on it.
Yeah, yeah. That may be, I think, my favorite version though. I think is the 2012 Ninja Turtles version of Splinter. I think they do an excellent job with Splinter, and I think that's the one too where they really like hammer home that relationship of like they're his kids,
right?
And there's not just a teacher-student relationship there.
Yeah.
And
in that one, I think what also helps, and I've talked about it before, is that they made April a teenager in that one, which I think ultimately helps sell the turtles as teenagers instead of just like you're told they're teenagers, but you don't really see it necessarily. It doesn't quite come across like that.
Right.
But to see them hanging out with actual teenagers, you're like, oh yeah, these are just kids.
Yeah.
Well, the part of that wears me out of that version is you find out that he really is a father with Karai.
Yeah.
Right.
In which before it wasn't that I guess secretive or this old switcheroo where Splinter raises his own kid against him, that type of thing. But after he discovers that that's his daughter, he does everything he can to save her, Yeah,
and the turtles go along with it too, like she's family.
Yes.
Yeah. No, good pick. Yeah. All right, who else? More good dads.
Ooh, I got a couple more Disney people.
Okay.
I couldn't help it. Disney just flooded my head.
Yeah. No, I get you.
So I'll take two more that's under sacrifice. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
These are two at different movies, but still all about sacrifice. Mufasa.
Yeah.
And King Triton.
Okay.
Both sacrifice their lives for the well-being of their children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lion King sticks out a little bit more in my head just because I've seen it more times and everything. But yeah, I mean, like, not only that, but I mean, like, he's disciplinarian, teacher, friend to him. Like, he's all of those things. Like in a very short time.
Yeah.
Short amount of screen time because really, like, I mean, my son is in a Lion King phase right now, and it's on every day. So I've seen this movie a lot in the last couple of months and everything. And I'm like, and looking back at it, I'm like, this movie seems so much longer when I was younger, but watching now, I'm like, Mufasa's really not on screen that much.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like 4 or 5 scenes, but like, I mean, those scenes do a lot of lifting for his character, And
then he comes back as a Force ghost.
Yep. He does.
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Yep.
Yes,
and who was the other one you said?
King Triton.
Okay.
From A Little Mermaid. What makes him the greatest dad at the end is, despite his strict rules and enforcement to keep her protected, when it all boils down to it, he, without hesitation, trades his life to save his daughter. And then when even the villain's relinquished, he gets rid of all his choices and allows her to live the dream of her life by her choosing, by allowing her to, but not pulling her in and saying, stay in the water, stay here, whatever, what have you. He allows her to get married to some random dude he wants to do, but he does it under the accepting of she wants to live her life and he's not interceding anymore. So yeah, King Triton. He turns into a shrimp. I don't know what the heck that was.
I don't remember the end of Little Mermaid very well, apparently.
Yeah. No. Yeah. At the end, when Ursula traps the daughter, Ariel, Triton sees that and relinquishes his power by putting his name on the contractual agreement instead of Ariel,
Okay.
which allowed Ariel to be released. And he's now under her thrall, which ultimately was Ursula's plan anyway, because he knew how much he loved his daughter.
Right.
Yeah. He knew he would do it without hesitation. And and only because I watched it with my niece not too long ago, so that helps.
It's fresh in your mind.
Fresh in my mind.
Frank, you got one?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna go with. Tommy was giving me a hard time about this one earlier, so I'm gonna pull a reversal.
Okay.
Go for it.
I'm gonna say Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love Superman as a dad.
I do too. I
love
think it's a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Jonathan Kent in the comics and with I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on his kids in the show.
Jordan and Jonathan.
Yes, Jordan and Jonathan in the show on the CW.
Yeah, Superman and Lois.
Yeah, I think the idea of I think part of the reason why people are embracing that show and enjoy that show so much, when they sometimes about the CW shows, is that you get to see him in a brand new light as being a dad. I mean, granted, he's been in the comics that way for a couple of years now, but
right.
But I think it's one of those things where the whole background of having his parents on Krypton, and then coming to Earth and with Mom Pa Kent, the amount of I mean he's usually seen in the role of being in charge or being a leader anyway.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that he actually has to be an actual dad.
Yeah.
I think is great.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, even though, we see for years and years in the comic books him with Supergirl and Superboy and, being leader of the Justice League. But I think him in Superman and Lois, what's endearing about it is you see him in a situation where his powers are meaningless.
Yeah.
It does his ability to be a father really has his powers have no bearing on it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's an I think that's not that he's in jeopardy, but it's a way to give the character drama. I think when to so many people, the criticism is like, I don't worry about Superman.
Right.
Ever. He's too powerful, but all that stuff, which I don't subscribe to, as I've said before, but
Right.
I get that that's a criticism. And that appears to be up in the air for the show, I think.
Yeah, there's not a lot of he can like fly or punch his way out of with his kids having problems.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a good relatable. And I think that the drama in the show comes from a more natural place than something where you have to be like, oh, I have all these problems as being a person, and then on top of that, which I'm not saying Superman wouldn't have problems. I'm just saying it seems to work much better in that show. But I think the idea of Superman as a parent, especially in the comics, by the stuff by like Peter Tomasi, I've talked about before that book should have just been called Superman Family because that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But, just the idea of like Jonathan coming into his own and getting his powers. And then, you have that moment again, much like with Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne. It's kind of like, no, I can show you how to, this is how you navigate heat vision. This is how you navigate, you can't get angry and just do whatever you want to do because you're going to be so much more powerful than the guy next to you.
Yeah. And it does bring it full circle where I think Pa Kent his presence is so grand on who Superman is, who Clark has become and everything. And the idea of him in a weird way, like it's one legacy aspect to Superman that's palpable that you can take, you can understand. And how do I follow up being a dad like my dad was?
Right. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely that thought process there that you can see again how much the Kents have the impact on Superman and Clark, So, but yeah, that was my choice. I think Superman, as a dad, has been pretty great so far.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I really like it. Any other ones out there?
I had Uncle Ben.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who, despite, is able to teach Peter valuable lessons when Peter's gone astray.
Yeah.
Just in the upbringing that he gave Peter before.
Pete's actual dad is boring.
When we ever see him.
Right. Yeah. He's a spy. So what? Who cares?
Yeah.
when that's the case, I'm never interested in that story. I'm much more interested in what Ben and May were up to.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this isn't related to that, but it is always something that struck me is just kind of interesting that I'd never dawned on me about Aunt May in relation to Ben, is that Aunt May is not a blood relative to Peter.
Right.
Yeah.
She was married to his father's brother.
Right.
And so like that, I don't know. It never dawned on me until well into adulthood and being familiar with these characters ever, that I was like, oh wow, like she loves Peter so much that like she's not bound by blood or anything to care for him, but she still cares for him, just as much, just in an adoptive way. And I just thought that was an interesting point, because he's Peter Parker. His uncle is Ben Parker because his father was Ben's brother.
Right.
Yeah.
And so both Peter and May have lost a lot and are still loving each other together and caring for each other, which it was an interesting thing. It took me a long, long time to realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, no, nobody's got anything bad to say about Uncle Ben. Nobody wants to. If you're doing, if there is, you're doing it wrong, right? Like,
well, I mean, some of the things I like when they reveal, like when they try, there was a push early on, like in the probably I'd say early 70s or maybe early 80s, trying to explain what the burglar was doing there the night of.
Oh God. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But it never goes well.
No, I mean, and this is not a bad one, because you have a moment of like Ben being like kind of. Well, the story that they came up with was like a gangster had buried was at one point Aunt May was sort of torn between Ben and this gangster type, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just hear me out. Anyway, the gangster buries a loot from a job in the floorboards of their house, and then Ben has to give him what fur, and that's, I'm saying it's a cool Uncle Ben moment.
Yeah, I get it.
And then this becomes this rumor of like there's this house in Forest Hills.
Yeah, right, yeah, usually Forest Hills.
Yeah, that has this money, and that's what the burglar was doing in the house that night.
Right,
was trying to find this loot from this job from the 30s.
Yeah. I mean, I don't bemoan that. I mean, when the character's been around for almost 60 years, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of threads to potentially pull on of like what hasn't been touched and what hasn't been explored, and I might have an idea for a Spider-Man story, but
right,
like why'd the burglar break into the house? I get it, but
oh, I know.
Ben is supposed to be the whole point is his purity.
Sure.
Okay, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
Now here's what I propose, or here's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to be pure of heart to be a good father?
No.
But that's my point. I think it's under the premise of you can't speak ill of the dead, that a lot of people feel that by changing his personality well after the conception of the character, to think that he would do something bad is speaking bad of the character.
Right.
But to me, it doesn't delineate from raising a good person.
Sure.
You can make mistakes within the course of your life, but he didn't do wrong with Peter.
Mm.
I think it's more, for lack of a better term, majestic.
Right.
That Peter's his saving grace, if you want to take it in that regard. So whenever they came up with that, he could have been a jerk.
But I get it what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have been a jerk in his previous life or done whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But by Peter, he didn't bring it to that. It never came to that. And I think it says a lot about a person's character that they separate the two, and they think that and they feel that matters.
Right.
It's when you don't separate the two, that's when you become a bad person in that regard. I think so.
Yeah, I think that there's interesting angles to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like, I mean, I think you're onto something with speaking ill of the dead, right? It's like, it's like taking Ben down that path is odd because it's like the character's not alive to defend himself in a weird way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But like when Miles's uncle, who's a criminal, but is great to Miles, like I love that aspect.
Yeah.
I like, that's one of my favorite aspects about Miles Morales' whole, world is that his relationship with his uncle is one thing, but his uncle's relationship with his dad is another.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to say Alan Matthews from Boy Meets World. You knew it was coming, everybody.
I thought it was one of three, to be quite honest.
Yeah, of course.
And I'd roll the dice on that one.
What? Let me see. So Alan, you were going to say Alan Matthews. You were waiting for Full House.
No, I forgot about that. Okay,
right.
No. Then there's 6 then.
Okay.
I thought it's going to be Uncle Phil or Carl Winslow.
Yeah, well, Carl's not so great with his neighbors.
No, he's not.
As annoying as they may be.
Yes,
he yells a lot.
Yes.
You know, yeah, Uncle Phil's great. I love Uncle Phil. But yeah, I'm sticking with Alan Matthews here. For one, like, you know, there's a awesome episode of Boy Meets World in the first season. It's the 3rd episode, and it's on Disney Plus if you guys want to check it out. It's called Father Knows Less, and it's just like, I just love the dynamic and the setup of this is that, like, it opens with Alan and Corey like having plans, and then his father's a manager at a grocery store, and then there's a problem at the grocery store, and like an emergency, he has to cancel. He has to go down and solve this thing and cancel plans with Corey, and then so he feels bad about it, and Corey's asleep. It's a school night, and then Alan comes in, knocks on the door, wakes up Corey, and he's like, "Hey, the Phillies are downstairs. You know, Phillies are playing downstairs, and there's they're on their way to a no-hitter. You want to come down and watch?" And so he goes down and he's watching and he's hanging out and he's staying up late. And it's this nice moment between the two, but he's so tired from hanging out with his dad the night before, he falls asleep during a test at school and fails. Right. And it's just a nice dynamic of he tries to get Feeney to let Corey take a retest, but he won't. And then you get an angle, you get the situation from Feeney and his dad from two different perspectives, but then they kind of like understand each other's perspectives by the end of it. And I'm being like intentionally vague about it because I think it's a really, really awesome episode with some great conversation. But I think that's the one that I always think about when I think Boy Meets World. But interestingly enough about it, though, is that when you fast forward to like when Girl Meets World was a thing, like really like Corey is, I think, influenced a little bit more by Feeney.
Right.
It's more obvious that he's influenced by Feeney because Corey becomes a teacher.
Okay.
You know?
And not a grocery store manager.
Not a grocery store manager. Right. And he's also not in a band with the Monkees.
Right.
And not a talking car either, right?
Right.
Okay.
or a doctor in a hospital.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doctor in the hospital.
In a snow globe.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We should do an episode on the Tommy Westphal universe from the St. Elsewhere ending. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But look it up when you have time, because oh boy, there's some quicksand with that. that's a rabbit hole. But yeah, so really, I'm asking you, Clifton, because I know you're the only one who I've watched Boy Meets World.
Right.
What do you think? What thoughts on Alan?
No, yeah. No, I like him too. But definitely like Feeney's a father figure in that show too, to also Alan and Corey.
Yeah.
And Eric, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely. So yeah, you get multiple ones in that show, but I think Alan's a good example.
Yeah.
He does lose a kid and get a different kid somewhere along the way. The little girl age jumps at some point to a different actress.
Yeah.
Which was a funny thing because in Girl Meets World, they brought both of the actresses who played Morgan, the youngest child, onto Girl Meets World and made no reference to the fact that there were two of them. They would just kind of like tag team in and out of scenes.
That's funny.
Like they were the Olsen twins when they were little, but not, but don't look anything alike. Yeah.
They're not the same person at all.
Or like the two Beckys.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which was a funny play on it. But yeah, no, I love Boy Meets World too. And Girl Meets World was pretty good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely in Girl Meets World, Corey is giving more Feeney lessons than Alan lessons.
For sure. But he's got a nice moment too, I think. Like when I'm blanking on Riley's friend's name.
Maya.
When he gets Maya the art supplies and the phone.
Right.
I thought that was a really, really nice, and that's in the first season too. That's pretty early, I remember. But I like, that's an aspect of both of those characters I like, is not just the relationship with their own kids, but the relationship they have with their kid's best friend.
Right.
And I think that's a special thing that in Boy Meets World later on. I mean, there's talk of like he wants to adopt Sean later because Sean's home life is such.
Right, his dad's out of the picture.
Yeah,
mostly.
Yeah. So, yeah, Alan's great. So, any more out there that you guys want to do quickly before we start closing out?
One of my lightning round ones is The Mandalorian. Din Djarin, of course, which everyone's readily familiar with now. So not too much to go into that, but somebody who's willing to fill that role when he sees a need for it.
Yep.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. I love that show. Love that show. Any more in the lightning round? You got another one, Clifton?
No, I think we covered the others because I had also had Pa Kent, which we covered a little bit when we talked about it extending down to Superman.
Okay.
Yes.
So Superman had a good father figure role model that he can emulate in his attempts at being a good father himself.
Okay.
And that is one of the things, like the show struck me that the current show, Superman and Lois, where I'm like, this is like Smallville, but if Pa Kent had superpowers.
Right.
Like it kind of bridges both worlds of the Smallville world to the Superman world.
And we do have an episode that if you want to go back and listen to see who had the most influence or most importance in Superman's life. And we discussed the Kents fairly thorough.
Yeah,
thoroughly in that one. So,
yeah. Okay, all right, so we're going to start closing out. We're going to close out with who has dad energy? A character from pop culture that would be a good father or bad one if you choose, whatever you guys think of. But first, if you like the show, you could check out all of our episodes on YouTube and letmeknowhowitis.com. Just please, however you find us, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. And finally, if you have any topic suggestions for the show, you can send it to us on Twitter or in the comments. Our Twitter handle is LMKHII. And let me just take this opportunity to thank Laura again for sending us the idea for this episode. I think it was an awesome idea.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. And all right, so who has dad energy? Who wants to go first?
Okay, so this is who has dad energy, good or bad, who's not a dad.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right, so somebody that could be a good dad or bad dad, but is not a dad.
Ooh, I have some.
I'm going to go with I think the top one for me in Marvel, and it is Captain America. Captain America has total dad energy.
Okay.
And is not a dad.
Interesting.
Is he?
Is he a dad?
Not that we know of.
Yes and no. I mean, he had a kid that was not his in Rick Remender's run. But it's not. I can't remember if it's his actual kid or if it's one of those things where there's a kid that he raises because there's a time. That's when he becomes old Cap.
Yeah, that's the time stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But I mean, as far as his own biological kid, there's the one from was it Ain Next? Like there's that one.
Yeah, I forgot about that stuff too, which is also again like alternate future stuff.
Right. So it's a possibility. So it's not I mean, in main Marvel universe, I don't think we've ever had that be a thing. So I'd see that, sure.
Yeah. And in MCU certainly not.
No.
That we know of. We don't know what happens after the story closes.
Yes.
But yeah, just like he's got the energy, like he's kind of a dad to so many characters. He's the leader, but he's also like he's imparting his old-timey folk wisdom.
Right.
He's very accepting, he's very forgiving. Like I think he'd be a good dad character.
Yeah. Unassuming too. I wasn't thinking about that. But as you were talking, it hit me. I'm like, Tony was a good dad. I didn't even think about him when I was prepping for the show. And that was a surprising one also.
Right.
Like how good he was at it.
Yeah, in the MCU version, especially. Yeah.
That'd be cool. It'd be cool, the two of them on a play date with their kids. I'd read that. I'd watch that episode of a show on Disney Plus. Make it happen.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, good pick. Good old Captain America. All right, Tommy, Frank.
Oh, I have one.
Okay.
Also from the Marvel Universe. And it was right before you guys started talking about battling Jack. I'd like to see his son have a son.
Oh, Daredevil?
Yeah, I don't think they've ever gone there.
Yes, because I would start off as the whole lone wolf and cub thing because it just fits.
Yeah.
But the way he straddles dishonesty and justice so much,
I would
love to see where it would land on with his own son.
I hope he would be a better dad than he is a boyfriend.
Exactly.
He's
exactly.
Yeah.
But all those women he's with, somebody got to carry him. I want to see him as his father.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good one.
What wisdom will he impart on the next generation?
Mm-hmm.
And how much guilt?
Yes. Yeah. Especially if he has that fighting spirit.
Yeah.
Oh, he might even be a mutant.
Could be.
Yeah.
That irradiated blood.
Right. All right, Frank.
This character's had kids, but again, it's like one of those, potential, possible futures. There's never been anything in the. Again, it's I don't know how this happened, but I'm going with Marvel as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for them in the since he was able to get married a couple of years ago in Dan Slott's run.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see what Ben Grimm's like as a dad.
Ooh, that would be cool.
I would love to see Ben Grimm's I would love to see him and Alicia have a kid.
Yeah.
In the main Marvel universe, because it's one of those things where they had, Buzz and what's another astronaut? Buzz and somebody in Earth X in a possible future.
Okay.
But we've never had like an actual Ben Grimm kid.
Oh man, that'd be so great,
wouldn't it?
Just
like that was
just to like him like Ben Grimm being like the T-ball coach, of his kids' team, like.
And Ben's not locking himself in a room for 5 days and ignoring his family.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
he's in there like, all right, this is how you throw a slider.
right, exactly. Yeah, you shake hands, you look the guy in the eye, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
all that good stuff. Yeah, all that stuff.
That's a great. These are all really good ones, but yeah, that one got my Superman feels.
Right,
like when Superman, like making Superman a dad. That one, that's a good one.
I think Ben would be a fantastic dad. No pun intended.
We don't talk about the Thing enough on this show. We need to do that more.
I agree.
We need to do that more. 60-year anniversary this year, as I understand it. I think.
Then we'll have to find a way.
Maybe we'll have to.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with one that you guys could have guessed. I'm going to say Nightwing. I think Nightwing would be an awesome one. I think one of the missed opportunities was back around Infinite Crisis and the 1 year later stuff.
Right.
I really would have. He proposes to Barbara, to Oracle at the time, and then it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
It doesn't happen. And I thought, like, to touch upon what I said in the last episode, the thing about Dick is that he's Bruce with all the good qualities, but none of the baggage. And so he's able to sort of like, this would have been a moment where he's more of the adult in the room now, right? Like he outgrows Bruce. He matures beyond Bruce now at this point. I can commit to being with somebody for the rest of my life, right? Because we all know, I know that people love him and Starfire together, but Babs is the love of his life, I think. Anyway.
But I mean, I will say that again, in Kingdom Come, he does have a kid with Starfire.
Yeah, that's what he should have the kid with.
Yeah, that
it depends on when you picked up the comics.
That's an Elseworld.
I know. I'm just saying.
But I feel the whole Babs thing was retcon. It just looks cuter. That type of.
Well, I mean,
we honestly see his relationship with Starfire.
Well, in the 70s, they were the lead. The two of them together were the lead feature in Batman Family. So the two of them together, it's established there that that's where all that flirting and will they, won't they, and all that stuff takes place there. So it's established. It's just one of those things where, they put them together with, the alien, alien from outer space, basically wearing a chainmail bikini every day.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah,
that's my thought. I think Starfire is the afterthought.
I mean, it's
I think that is the idea out of left field, not him and Barbara.
Well,
I think him and Barbara is the original idea.
Right. I can see that. I mean, it's also a thing where like you get that weird moment in. I think it's. I don't know where, somewhere in Teen Titans, it might be when Donna Troy gets married, I think is where the point where Bruce is like, it's like some of his I don't know, alien racism shows
his mindset.
Yeah. Where he's like, I don't know what you're doing with this alien.
Yeah.
He's not cool. Bruce is not cool with the idea of him and Starfire. So.
Ooh, but the fact that you mentioned Nightwing as a dad, you want to hear my spin on how I thought Batman Beyond was going to be?
Okay.
Real quick. I thought it'd been better Bruce never has a kid, and it's Nightwing's son, who Nightwing never wanted to be a superhero, seeks out Bruce and becomes one.
Okay,
I'd watch that.
Yeah, I would too.
That's all.
Sure. But yeah, went down a path of who's the love of Dick Grayson's life, which I didn't quite foresee, but he'd make a great dad. So that's my pick.
All right.
Yeah. So, all right, listeners, hit us up on Twitter or in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. Who's a great dad? Who's a not so good dad that, kind of screwed up their kid in pop culture. As always, we'll post links and examples to everything we talk about on letmeknowhowitis.com. Please remember to like us and follow us on social media, and we will see you guys next time. Happy Father's Day to all the dads listening. Thanks. Bye-bye.